So congratulations, Maxine, on winning Literary Fiction Book of the Year. What does it mean to win this award?
It's incredible. I still can't quite believe it. I think for a book like Foreign Soil, that's a short fiction collection and one that's set in many places across the world and not necessarily easy to read. It's just incredible, for the Australian book industry to have recognised it in this way. So I still haven't quite digested it yet.
And do you have a favourite story from the book?
I think my favourite story is Gaps in the Hickory, which is a story that's set in Mississippi and New Orleans. And it's one that I felt like I could just have written it forever. I kind of fell in love with those characters. Yeah.
And can you take us through the writing process for Foreign Soil?
Foreign Soil, I feel, was almost written in a vacuum. So when I was working on the stories, I guess I didn't necessarily not believe it was going to be published, but it was kind of a real insular, almost lockdown process. I just kind of was working on these stories over a number of years. And it wasn't until I had about 6 or 7 stories that I kind of read through and thought, oh my goodness, I think I'm actually writing a book here as opposed to writing individual pieces. And I guess something I really wanted to do is look at English as, I guess, deconstructed language, look at people talking in different accents from different places in the world and the way we speak to each other reflects our backgrounds and our stories.
Yes, all the characters have a real individual sense of voice. And was it difficult to write in those different ways?
Sometimes. Some of them were easier than others. So my grandparents come from the Caribbean, so the stories that were written in Jamaican vernacular were easier than the others that were written in maybe a vernacular I wasn't so familiar with. So there was a lot of kind of watching documentaries where people were speaking in these deep Southern American accents and kind of thinking about how am I going to translate this to a page.
And can you sum up the support that you've had from booksellers and what that means to you?
The support from booksellers has been absolutely amazing. It's a book that, because it's a book of short stories, they're primarily black characters in an Australian context. It has to be hand-sold. It's not the kind of thing people walk into a bookstore and say, hey, I heard about this book. It's kind of something where I feel like, booksellers have really been the driving force behind letting people know about this book, letting people know that it exists and kind of pushing it on people. And there have been so many stories that different people, different friends have come back and said, I was in this store and this woman tried to sell me your book, So it's just been phenomenal.
That's great. And what are you working on next?
I'm working on a memoir. It's called The Hate Race, and it's a story really about growing up with black skin in white middle-class Australia in the 80s and 90s. And it should be out hopefully next year.
Oh, that sounds great. Congratulations again.
Thank you.